Hello, everyone, and welcome to Starport Resort. This is episode 2, recorded on the 29th of March, 2015. I'm your host, Mad Moy. I'm Mel.
What's up? What's up?
So, right off the bat, I'm going to talk about what I've been playing. Just get right into it. Obviously, Bloodborne.
How's that going?
It's going really well. I'm going a lot slower than a lot of people I know playing the game, unfortunately, just due to work and other obligations. But when I do have time to set aside to play Bloodborne, it's feeling a lot like Dark Souls used to. You know what I mean?
Like the original one as opposed to the sequel, or?
Yeah, in
Okay.
that they're spacing out the bonfire equivalent a
Okay.
lot more. Like, you didn't play Dark Souls 2, did you?
No, I still haven't played that one. It's
Okay.
on my long list there of shit to get to, but...
Well, basically in Dark Souls 2, it was more like a boss rush type of game. There were like 30 bosses in that game, I think,
Jesus.
as opposed to the 10 or whatever in Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, there were bonfires everywhere because they were really generous with the bonfires in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to see a return to form in Bloodborne, in that every lantern you find, which is the bonfires in this game,
Mm-hmm.
it's it's a big relief, like it was in Dark Souls. Like,
That's
you'll
that,
maybe
that checkpoint that you're just like waiting on. It's like, I can relax once I get to it. And where is it at?
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
like the first session I was running around. It kind of does the thing with like what Demon Souls does, in that you can't spend any of your souls until you beat the first boss.
Ugh.
So I was running around with like 10k souls early on and just looking, trying desperately to find either a shortcut or another bonfire. And that starting zone is just such a labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Undeadburg, but if you had a lot more paths as opposed to a bunch of secret paths.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at any given time, it felt like I had 4 different places I could go,
Ooh.
because it's just like city streets, right?
Sometimes that freedom is kind of scary.
It is very scary, especially when you got like no clue where anything is, because you're just popping it in day one. So that brought the tension back, but now I feel I've kind of gotten back into the groove of things. Have you heard much of anything from anybody you know playing the game yet?
I got a handful of friends that are playing it, and they all seem to be really enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I guess it's different enough that me and a couple of people I know from the stream site I go to, we had to completely adjust how we play the game,
Mm-hmm.
because, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, those all more or less control the same way. Like, you can employ the same strategies in all 3 of those games,
Mm-hmm.
and in Bloodborne you got to be a lot more aggressive, it feels like.
Really, well, because I know, these with, like, Demon Souls and stuff, it was all about being on the defensive, so...
Yeah. I mean, for starters, you don't have a shield. Just right off the bat, you're fucked. It's like, hey, no more turtle. Which kind of sucks for me, because that's all I did was just counterattack after things bounced off my wicked shield. So I think I might have had a bit steeper of a learning curve there than people who practiced non-shield builds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, it sort of makes up for the aggressive way you're supposed to play the game, in that when you get smoked by somebody, you've got this temporary this temporary health bar, where if you smack them back, you can gain some of your health back. So it's kind of helpful for big fray fights where just everything is hitting everybody else.
And is there a lot of those in Bloodborne?
Um, yeah, you can, like, you try not to get into those situations, but sometimes it feels like they're kind of unavoidable.
Okay.
So it's kind of helpful that even if you do get hit by a really strong enemy, if you're quick enough and you can dodge and smoke them a couple times, you're not losing that much health.
That's good. I mean,
It's
it's
nice.
not, like, impossibly punishing,
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are saying it's easier. A lot of people are saying it's harder. I don't know where to fall. I think it's just
Different?
It's different. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's required a bit of adjustment on my end.
So what's the atmosphere like in the game? Because that was
Okay.
always a really big part of the Demon Souls was, the atmosphere.
So I don't know how I didn't pick up on any of these vibes previous to the game coming out, but turns out a lot of Lovecraftian elements,
Oh.
especially deeper into the
Now,
game.
see, now I want to go play it right now because like
Yeah.
that shit is my jam. Like,
I know, right? Like I don't know how I didn't put two and two together, but yeah, you're in Victorian Englandish setting. It's the right time period, and people are all going insane, and you have your own sort of sanity stat, and like the more you realize, like I'm trying not to spoil things, but the more you realize about the world around you, the more you notice like eldritch horrors influencing things.
okay. So it's got a little
So
bit of like that amnesia kind of genre that got really popular in there without being super overt about it.
yeah, I mean the sanity thing is more or less what humanity used to be in Dark Souls. So like you can spend it, but also I think the more you acquire, the harder the game gets, which is kind of a carryover from a system in Dark Souls 2
Yeah.
where you could like make the game harder at a whim. So that's kind of cool. That's an aspect I hadn't even considered. So I was doubly excited when I found that out because I think we both read a fair bit of Lovecraft.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, it's good. It's finally made me feel good about owning my PS4, which is always good to say good again.
Yeah. I mean, lately it's been pretty depressing.
Yeah, and for a while there, I was a little bit concerned about Bloodborne just because of there was a lot of murmuring about shitty frame rate and what have you, and all I've really noticed, like, yeah, the frame rate kind of dips once in a while. I don't have a good eye for that, but the load times are fucking nasty. We're talking maybe 45 seconds every time you die.
That's not too bad.
It's pretty bad when, in my case, I want to rage quit.
Oh.
And I have to just sit there for 45 seconds.
And think about it.
Yeah. So, other than that, no, I'm really enjoying that game. I hope to get a lot deeper into that with the upcoming Easter break.
That's good. I haven't looked into there being a PC release at all. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be PS4 exclusive, if not indefinitely, then for a while, because Sony published it.
Oh, well then, forget that.
So things would have to go pretty tits up for them, which, to be honest, is not too far-fetched nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think this current console generation is looking a little murkier than some people would like.
Yeah, I'm noticing that as a somewhat early adopter myself. Although, that's not really fair, because between like the 3 games I've been playing on the PS4, although I haven't been playing anything else since Bloodborne came out, I've finally started having some things to play. So that's good. What have you been playing, though?
I picked up Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah.
I'm really kind of enjoying that so far. It's a nice little side. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Like that kind of like hand painted like thing that it has going on is really, really, really well done, and they've implemented the gameplay into that kind of seamlessly, so it feels super organic. The gameplay's pretty fun. I kind of get irritated when they like shoehorn like RPG elements into stuff that really doesn't need it. Like,
What do you mean? Like, how is it implemented in this game?
like you get like I guess ability points from killing bad guys, and then you get so many. Well, I don't know. Like you get little yellow spheres, and then they add up to an ability point. And you spend them on stuff, and it's like, okay, well, that's whatever. Like it doesn't really take away from the game, but it doesn't really add to it either.
Is it sort of like incremental upgrades, like +5 to crit or something like that? Or is it more locking abilities behind experience walls?
Yeah, I'd say it's more locking abilities behind experience walls. I mean, it's not a terrible thing, but it just feels kind of unnecessary given like the style of gameplay that they're trying to go for with the side scroller. It's like, okay, well, this is I guess they're trying to force depth, I guess, and where it doesn't really need it, you know.
Does it feel more like a side-scroller platformer, or does it feel like a Metroidvania?
I think it feels like a side scroller platformer. I mean, it has like Metroidvania kind of stuff, like aspects to it. Well, you know, like, oh, we gotta. There's some optional things you can go hunt down, but none of them are particularly difficult to find.
Mm.
And the game is overall really linear. So I don't know. I mean, it's not a super deep or complex game, but I wasn't really expecting one either. What it
Fair
is,
enough.
it does what it sets out to do, I think, rather well. I just kind of wish he would have left out a couple of those aspects. They feel a little unnecessary, but you know, whatever. Small complaint. Overall, I'm
Yeah,
really enjoying the game.
that's good to hear.
I also picked up Alien Isolation because it was like 75% off on Steam, and you know me and horror games, like we're, we're best friends.
I didn't actually know that.
Oh, I love
You
horror
play a
games.
lot of horror games?
I would like to say that I could play more, but so many of them are just so bad that you
Yeah,
know.
like all that Slender bullshit and
Yeah, like
Five Nights at Freddy's and all that.
I mean, that's not a good horror game. Like I think the like epitome of horror games was like Silent Hill 2. Like when I was up late at night and I was talking myself into walking down hallways, like you know that's when it did it right, you know. But
Yeah.
Alien Isolation's pretty good. I mean, we're at this point now, I think, and I think this kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the pilot episode between, you know, when you have this certain comfort and ease with games now, having played them for so long, where you figure out the patterns like super quickly, and then it kind of just really takes you out of the game like really quickly, and I think Alien Isolation suffers from that a lot. I mean,
So you feel like the monster's kind of predictable?
it is, and it
The alien, I should say.
you can kind of force it into being predictable. You know what I mean? By deciding to do certain things, like
So you can kind of like bait it?
yeah, and then you can kind of you know make it work to your advantage. Now that might not be a valid complaint. I mean that might actually be really good design, but I don't know. I feel like I can make the game too easy for myself by doing that. It doesn't feel like there's any true artificial intelligence to the xenomorph or whatever. But I mean, there's been some legit creepy parts to it that have been kind of stressful. You know, I've had
Yeah.
some actual anxiety.
So you do get scared by games then?
I don't know if it's scared, but it's
Anxious?
anxious, and it has more to do with performing than it does with something scary going on, I guess.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Like, I
'Cause-
don't necessarily get scared by the psychology of the games, but
Yeah.
having, like, knowing you're gonna have to react to whatever happens puts you on edge a bit, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. I think it does that pretty well. I mean, I didn't spend I mean, it was 75% off, so I only spent $12 on it, which I
Yeah,
think
you
is
can't go wrong with that either
which
way.
is about what I would suggest anybody who was looking to play it spend on it. About, you know, $12 to $15. It's good for that, you know.
And do you have much knowledge on the Aliens movies?
Oh yeah, tons. I grew up with
Are you a
those.
big fan of those?
Oh my god, huge. Huge.
I only saw the first one semi-recently, like a couple years ago. I never saw any of the sequels.
Well, see, like I was kind of allowed to watch all those as a kid, you know, but it was
Yeah.
always with, you know, a parent sitting there explaining what was going on and, you know, making sure that my little plastic child brain understood that this was fake, you know.
Yeah.
But I grew up with them, like literally grew up watching them, and they're like super big part of my childhood. So I kind of liked how it expanded on that. It felt like it was bordering on retconning certain things, but I'm not sure that I disagree with what they decided to retcon. But
Yeah.
I think it added to the mythos pretty well. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's good to hear. So mostly just those two games?
Yeah, for now. It is spring break this week, so I'm gonna be diving into some other ones. I haven't decided what yet, but I got quite a bit to choose from. So I think
Yeah,
tomorrow I'm gonna be rolling into some new games.
that's good. I heard your exams went well,
Yeah, they did. They went really
so
well.
that means you can doubly enjoy your break now,
Oh
knowing you've
yeah,
done well
it
and
feels
you
so
just
great. Like it's like I just destroyed those tests. Now I'm just gonna sit here and
it's like
you know,
you earned it.
yep. Which is what you aim for, to enjoy it without that nagging little voice in your head.
Yeah. Let's see, what else have I been playing? Monster Hunter 4, obviously.
How's that going?
It's going. Progress kind of slowed down again once I picked up Bloodborne.
Mhm.
I played a lot of it last week because I didn't have a
Anything else going
room.
on?
Hmm?
You didn't have much else to play at the time. I remember you were.
Yeah, because I was kind of out of my room due to renovations, so I had a crappy laptop with Vista on it and my 3DS. So
Ooh.
yeah, kind of slumming it. But I'm I'm in the 6/7th tier of the quests now, and it turns out there's not 7 tiers, there's 10 tiers, so
You're about
it's a big game.
3/4 of the way done, at least with the main part of it
Just the
anyway.
story missions, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, to call them story missions is maybe not the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
The single player content. And then after that, apparently there's just a shitload of online stuff, like more than the single player stuff. So that's going to be a game in
If
my
you're
3DS for a while.
playing it,
Yeah.
definitely come back to it, pick it up.
Which is good because it doesn't look like there's a lot on the horizon for the 3DS
There
for
really
quite a while.
doesn't.
I mean, Xenoblade is that remake of Xenoblade. The Wii game is coming out. Maybe I'll pick that up, but I have no knowledge of the series, so I'd have to check on that first. But yeah, Monster Hunter. I think I'm gonna be pretty reliably playing that probably for a couple months at least. So just trucking along. I don't feel like I'm getting much better. Maybe just better at reading the monsters, but a lot of them are kicking my shit in. So I guess it's a pretty consistent difficulty curve.
Well,
Like,
I mean, it feels pretty smooth. Like, does it kind of start off and I mean, does it introduce you well and then kind of build, or does it kind of just jump right into difficult?
I mean, it didn't start off too hard. It was hard for someone like a novice who'd never played before.
Okay.
But once you learn that sort of tutorial monster they give you, then you kind of are equipped to deal with all the other low level monsters, and then I feel like it ramps up pretty slowly as long as you pay attention. Like right now, I'm at a point where I'm fighting 2 monsters at a time, which if you told me that last week even, I would have been like, fuck you, I don't know. But that just boils down to managing aggro, I guess, and like kind of scaring one off and chasing it down and hoping the other one just buggers off for a while you finish one of them off. So
That's good to
yeah,
hear.
it's ramping up pretty. It's like a 45-degree angle pretty consistently. I feel like it's always pushing really hard, but it doesn't usually feel unfair. It's more just I'm not very good at. I get too aggressive, I guess. Which
Yeah. I mean,
is not good for this game.
no, it doesn't sound like it, but it's good to hear that the difficulty is kind of linear. There's nothing worse than, that variable random difficulty spikes. Like, that will just make me want to give up on something really quick.
Yeah, and on the other hand, where a game's super difficult at the beginning, but then once you figure a couple things out, it's just kind of it never gets harder than when it is at the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a way, Dark Souls was kind of like that for me. Like once I got into the groove of,
Well, the learning curve was super steep, and then it just kind of,
but
petered
then
out
once you know
there.
what you're doing, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Like after about the halfway point of Dark Souls, I just kind of blazed through the rest of that game like it was nothing.
Well, you kind of pick a tool set that works for you really well, and then you can keep abusing that tool set,
Yeah.
depending
For
on
example,
whatever play style it is that you got. And you
yeah.
tend to like turtle, you said.
Well, I turtled, but I also used the scimitar because it was fast, and I think I just liked that it kept horizontally slashing. I don't know what my problem was with the longsword. I think the scimitar was just really fast in Dark Souls.
Yeah, so you can kind of almost play it like a.
Well, I'd block until they bounced off, and then smack them a couple times and put my shield back up. I was very defensive in that game. And then the bright side to using a scimitar in my first run was, by the time I needed to use a bow on those like headless dinosaur things in the lava area,
Yeah.
I had so much dexterity that I was just picking them off like nothing. So that was kind of cool.
That worked out well.
Yeah. Didn't work out so well on subsequent games where I went strength based.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I've been tinkering a little bit. I played Far Cry 4 for a couple hours, maybe like 10 hours before I picked up a different game. It's okay. Not a big fan of shooters. It felt like there was an overwhelming quantity of things to do on the map, which sounds pretty shitty to complain about. It's like, oh, there's too much.
Well, not really. I mean, I had that same complaint with like Far Cry 3. There was a lot of stuff to do, but it was all the same stuff, and it was just spread out everywhere. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this thing 15 times, but it's gonna be a different base, but I'm still doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, or something to collect, or I don't know. It's like nothing really interesting is going on in the game.
Yeah.
You know?
And more, the problem I was running into wasn't so much the quantity of the content, it was just most of the activities I partook in were just really fucking boring. Like, it would boil down to grab a couple things on the map, just traverse badly, and then done, I guess.
I mean, I think that's why Blood Dragon worked so well for me, because it was a short game. It had a lot of humor to work with. You know, because it was kind of poking fun at the whole like 80s sci-fi thing. It was great, and but the map was small and the game was short, so like that kind of gameplay could hold my interest for about that amount of length. But like a full-blown, 30, 40 plus hours of that just sounds awful to me. But like 10-ish is good, I think, for that.
I think, like, zooming out on the map in Far Cry 4 and seeing just how little the area I've already traversed is like maybe a fifth of the map, maybe even closer to an eighth of the map. And I'm just like, holy fuck, this is just too much boring shit to do. So I don't know if I'm gonna come back to that or not.
I mean, occasionally, that could also be one of those things, like sometimes you pick up a game and you're just not in the headspace for it when you first get it, and come back 6 months later and it's like, oh, this is just what I wanted.
Yeah.
It might be one of those games, or it might just be one of those that you play for a couple of hours every 3 or 4 weeks, and that's about it. Who knows?
Like, for example, there were a couple events that were fun, like taking out outposts. It became a sort of stealth game where you have to try and take out all the guards without getting seen. So those were kind of interesting, but most of the other events were just run from point A to point B, pick up a thing, or shoot some dudes.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much
too well.
That's the game.
Yeah.
It's not that exciting or anything different.
So I might come back to Far Cry 4, but I wouldn't expect it at any time soon, given Bloodborne and Monster Hunter. I picked up another game, sort of just on a random whim. That was Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Have you heard much about this?
I've seen a lot of like, I saw it like on Twitch actually. I was like, what the hell? What are these people playing a Dragon Ball game for? But actually it looks pretty decent. I mean, considering it's a Dragon Ball game, but you know, and those have been like wildly hit and miss. But
yeah, I feel like there weren't decent ones since the PS2.
Yeah, the fighting one. I don't remember what it was called, but
I think it was Tenkaichi or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that one. I mean, I wasn't like playing it super hardcore, but I had some friends that had it and we played it, and it was pretty fun. But I mean, you don't really think, Dragon Ball and quality games, those seem kind of exclusive to one another.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it might have just been the perfect time for me, but I was like, when I saw all these people playing this game, I was really in the mood to play some Dragon Ball, which led to me downloading a bunch of the movies and finishing off like the Dragon Ball movies, like not even Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball itself.
Oh wow!
Because I just recently finished the the anime of that, the Japanese one, which was
GT or what were you watching?
oh no, just Dragon Ball proper.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Nice.
I don't think I'd ever touch GT from everything I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard it's pretty bad.
Well, I mean, it's just Dragon Ball. I mean,
At the
even
very least, worth missing.
Dragon Ball is just what it is, man.
I really like Dragon Ball. That was a lot of my childhood.
Yeah, well, I started with Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z. Those were on Toonami when I was a kid, and I'd sit there every afternoon and watch them.
Yeah, we had them on YTV up here. I always got to extend when my bedtime was based on when Dragon Ball would air. So one year's like, oh, they moved it to from 8:30 to 9. So I was like, hey, I gotta stay up till 9:30 so I can watch the fucking Dragon Ball. And that usually worked. So that's awesome. So I got to stay up late watching anime. Can't go wrong with that when you're in grade 5.
Seriously. But, how are you, or how did you like the game, or?
Sort of got mixed feelings about it. The character creators are pretty cool. I made some wicked abominations. I'm not sure if you saw my uploads on that.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them, and they were...
Yeah. So, I made a Saiyan, hoping, you'd have a tail and stuff like that. Basic Saiyan shit.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have a tail. So that kind of irritated me. But, that's a small complaint. Basically the way it works is, it feels kind of mashy, but that might just be because I'm bad. You know what I mean? You've got like your 2 attack buttons, your light attack and your heavy attack, and you can make pretty basic combos with that to build up energy.
What do you spend the energy on? Just...
Well, then you've got these super moves, so you like press the trigger button and you've got 4 slots you can work with. So I've got like Destructo Disc on triangle and Kamehameha on the circle and just a bunch of melee stuff on the other 2.
So it's not super deep.
Not super deep, but again, I might be missing something pretty significant and could just be really shitty, but the way the game usually flows for me is I'll do a couple combos and knock shit around, and then I've got a bunch of energy, so I'll actually use the melee combos because I've been speccing my character into melee as opposed to energy blasts. Although I'll throw a Destructo Disc once in a while just because I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually do very much damage. Beyond that, there's a lot of character customization from gear and stuff like that. Like, I'm wearing all Raditz's armor, which is distinct because there's like some rings on his arm and leg and stuff like that. So I don't know, I think it's a really good game if you like Dragon Ball and you're in the mood for some fan service, I guess.
I was gonna say, it sounds like it's pretty fan servicey, so...
Oh yeah, because you can make like a Boo. Like, there's 5 races you can make. You can make humans if you're the most boring fucking person in the world. You can make Saiyans, which are just humans with different stats.
Humans with blonde hair.
Not even necessarily. I thought I was going to be restricted to black hair, but mine's got lime green hair that actually glows.
Okay.
Because it's so bright. Then you can be a Namekian, which only has one gender. And you can be a Frieza, which I feel like that race should have a name, but
it
you're
doesn't.
just the Frieza race, so you can make one of those, which I think are also just one gender. And you can make a Boo, like a Majin Buu type thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I see a lot of girl Boos running around. People think it's cute. So
Sounds
I rolled
terrifying.
like a midget ass female Saiyan, and like when I ran into Krillin, it turns out I was even shorter than Krillin.
Oh my god.
So I turned out really short.
Basically,
So,
tiny
yeah,
little...
I don't know. It's
tiny
kind of
little
fun.
monkey.
I mostly bought it because I want to reward a decent Dragon Ball game, and because I'll probably come back to it.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I probably could have waited for the price to go down a bit, considering Bloodborne came out like a week after I bought it. But what can you do? Actually, not even a week. It was like 3 days after I bought that game. Bloodborne came out, so I probably just should have waited, but whatever.
Ah, well, it's there.
That's what I've been playing. So, to avoid huge gaps, I think we should just jump straight into news unless there's anything else you want to talk about for
No,
recent games.
that's it for me as far as what I've been
All
playing.
right. So it turns out there was quite a bit of news midweek, earlier this week actually. let's start off with the big one. Kojima left Konami, and or Konami kicked Kojima out. We don't actually know right now.
Yeah, that was really surprising, especially since the release is so close for
Close-ish.
yeah, well, I mean, for an
Assuming
NGS
they don't.
game, that's really close, to be honest. If
I
there's a
guess.
date on it, it's really close.
Well, I actually haven't, like, by the time MGS4 came out, I didn't have a PS4 until it, like, actually came out, so I wasn't watching that too closely. Are they usually pretty secretive about release dates?
Well, I don't know about secretive, but they'll announce them well ahead of a release date. So, a lot of times you'll just sit with a trailer and a title for a year and a half or whatever.
Yeah, it felt like forever since I'd heard anything about MGS5.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, hey, it exists, but when it's coming out, good luck with that.
Yeah. So, I don't know, people seem to be feeling pretty bad about it. What do you think? How do you feel about all this?
I think Konami doesn't have anything going for it really now.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Like, even in their E3 press conferences the past couple years, not even conferences, they released these videos, like Nintendo, but way worse. It's all been Metal Gear and some fucking not FIFA soccer game. You know,
Yep.
the soccer game that isn't FIFA.
The soccer game that people who care about soccer don't care about.
I don't actually know, like, I'm not European, so I don't give a fuck about soccer. But, you know, maybe that's a popular series.
I don't think it is really, but
It's like they've fucked up Castlevania almost beyond repair at this point.
yeah. Well,
So
they
what-
keep trying to do this weird Japanesey bullshit with it. And it's like, can you just leave it alone? Honestly, quit trying to make a story. Quit trying to have some kind of, character development narrative bullshit and, just make a game. But
Yeah.
they refuse.
Although 3D action games have never been really good for Castlevania games. I mean, I really liked my time with Lords of Shadow 1. But there was a hell of a... You gotta get through a rough couple hours. Like, I had to come back to that game after the first time, because the first couple hours are just so... It's a slow burn, and I wasn't particularly good at action games at the time, so it felt like a slow burn combined with being super hard for me at the time. I left it alone for a couple years until I came back to it. But once you get past the first bit, it's a pretty intense game. So, I don't know, I liked Lords of Shadow 1. Then they made that 3DS game, which was a huge piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the last, 10 or 15 years of Castlevania, by and large, it's just total garbage. And
Well, you say that, but the DS games were amazing. Well, some could argue the middle DS game wasn't super good, but Order of Ecclesia, which I think was the last one before Lords of Shadow, is widely beloved. Have you
Yeah.
played that one?
when did that come out, though? What was the release date on that?
Let's see. I wasn't in university yet, so I would have been like 18 or 19. So like 2009, 2010, maybe.
Okay, so we're getting...
Somewhere around there. There, I've got the internet. Why am I fucking around?
Why are we guessing?
Just-
We can just Google this.
Thought it came out in October of 2008.
Yeah, see, that's my point. That's
That's I guess it's
almost
been a
7
lot
years ago. That's...
It's been a lot longer since I thought. That's not good. So yeah, they've been fucking Castlevania up for about 7 years. I don't know, like, what else do they have? Metal Gear and soccer. And now, does anybody want to play a Metal Gear game without Kojima heading
No.
it?
I mean,
On the other hand,
I was gonna say, but the handheld ones have been not that amazing either.
yeah, I didn't care for Portable Ops that much. I didn't really care for Peace Walker, which people give me a lot of shit about, but
I didn't like it that much. I mean,
I wasn't big on it. I didn't like the boss fights because it was just kind of like big robots instead of...
Yeah, it was like, this is kind of dull and generic. And I mean, and the people, I guess, liked Zone of the Enders, but honestly, I thought they were just fucking awful, both of them.
See, I never played them.
Well, I played the first one because I needed to play. I had to get that to play the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo, which that's a different discussion in of itself. But it was just some boring fly around pew pew bullshit as a robot. Wasn't that great. Didn't give a shit about it. The second one.
Do you like Gundams though?
I wouldn't even say compare it to just gameplay wise. It was just really empty. You know.
Oh.
There was just really nothing going on there, and it felt easy. It felt silly. Even with the second one, kind of more the same. I wasn't really into them. Didn't see the appeal personally. I mean, other people may disagree, but.
So then, are you saying you're skeptical about Kojima working on different projects?
Well, I mean, the man hasn't done anything, honestly, really different from MGS outside of Zone of the Enders. And how many decades?
Quite some time. To be fair, I feel like every time there's been a Metal Gear Solid since 2, he's said this is the last one he wants to work on.
Well, I mean, I have no issue. I mean, if he wanted out, then he wanted out to go do something else. I'm just hesitant to kind of throw my hat in the ring and say, oh, he can do no wrong. But, you know, if you haven't done anything but one thing for 20 years, then I don't know.
I think for me, I've got to wait to see what it is. I don't give him the benefit of the doubt. I've done that too many times and been burned. Like, I almost funded Mighty Number 9 expecting, well, how can Inafune fuck up a Mega Man game? Turns out quite a number of ways. So, kind of dodged the bullet there. You can't trust individuals.
No.
Games are made by teams, even if there's people that head them. And I'm not going to say Kojima didn't have a huge influence on the series, but A, if he doesn't want to do it anymore, he's probably not putting his best work in. And B, you know, maybe he's got other ideas, and maybe those ideas will be really good and just as crazy as some of the Metal Gear games have been. It's hard to say.
We'll just have to wait and see. I'm just super hesitant. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it'll be years before we see a game out by him anyway, considering...
It's true. It takes him quite a while.
Yeah, so...
And I mean, I'm not broken up about that Silent Hills game. You know, the remake they were working on. Or not even remake, just he was working on that with some director, Del Toro.
Oh,
I don't actually know my movies too well.
Yeah, Del Toro. I mean, it's... We'll see. I mean...
Has Silent Hill been pretty shitty for a while, too?
I think since 3, honestly. Homecoming was okay. I mean, they tried to kind of go back to the roots, so to speak, with Homecoming, and it was passable. It was all right as far as the Silent Hill game went, but a lot of the other ones I just have refused to touch. Did they outright cancel it, or is it just he's off of it now?
I don't know. Like,
I don't think they would cancel it because
handling things is really sketchy, and depending on how you look at it, it seems almost petulant. Like, what they've been doing is scrubbing his name off of promotional material for MGS5. Have you heard about that?
I saw some of that. It's so
dumb.
Yeah,
just taking off like a Hideo Kojima game.
Like anybody who's gonna buy it doesn't already know. Like.
Yeah. So I don't know. Time will tell, I guess. Konami. Well, the thing about Konami is video games aren't even their primary income.
Nope.
Like they've got pachinko machines or some shit like that. They've got like health clubs in Japan. Like I think video games is just one of their many branches. It's all we know over here besides like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I think they're not in trouble as a company, but it's kind of sad to see because Konami's always been one of the big companies, you know?
Yeah, and now, well, I don't think that they've really had that. I mean, I guess legacy-wise they have, but I think recently they've really, I think a lot of game companies have kind of lost their standing.
Oh yeah, like Capcom is doing Capcom type things. I think they're really lucky Street Fighter got popular again when it did, because otherwise, what the fuck are they doing? Like they haven't said the word Mega Man in years. I I guess Monster Hunter is doing better than usual over here. I think they're pushing it really hard this time for 4.
Well, they're actually doing something with it over here as opposed to just like, ah, here you go, weeboos, have fun, you know,
Yeah.
which is, I think, their kind of past approach to Monster Hunter in the West, but
Yeah. So I guess Capcom's still kicking. Sega's, what the fuck is Sega doing? Like, they've got so many franchises they could be using.
don't fucking know what they're doing.
They keep just shitting out a Sonic game every once in a while.
Are people buying them?
I have to imagine kids are. Like, that Sonic Boom atrocity, that's got a TV show. I think the TV show is still going.
I'll never understand.
So, you know, kids. I mean, I can see why, like, little kids would like that.
Yeah.
I've got to think if they keep making these fucking games, they've got to be selling at least well enough to justify making more of them. At this point, it would be silly because there's been like what? There's infinitely more bad Sonic games than there are good Sonic games.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think the last Sonic game I played was on the Genesis.
Yeah, and that's when any sane person would stop. I know there's a lot of people who are a bit younger than me and you who say they really like Sonic Adventure and stuff like that. But I don't know, like even when I was younger, I didn't like the look of. I didn't think I'd like it. You know what I mean? Like I played a bit of it on demo stations.
I was gonna say, I think I played
Blockbusters.
some of the ones on demos in like Toys R Us or whatever on a Dreamcast, but
Like 3D is just not fucking good for Sonic.
no.
You know, there's like the 4 Genesis games, and then you don't need to bother. A couple of the Game Boy Advance ones are okay. 3 is a fucking mess. So you've got at most 6 good Sonic games, and most of them are just fucking ancient at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Sega's doing. Square Enix, we talked about that a couple times at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
Get their head
either.
out of their ass with Final Fantasy. I've heard pretty bad things about the Final Fantasy 15 demo too.
It's.
Oh.
I don't even. Like, I've seen videos and I'm like, what? This is not a fucking Final Fantasy game. This is a. I don't know. You're role playing as a Japanese anime teenager.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, to be fair, recently that is Final Fantasy.
yeah, I mean, but I think more so than any of the other ones, that's what it feels like, you know?
Well, people got to keep in mind, like, theoretically, this was Final Fantasy 13 Versus. They've just slapped a new name on it.
Yeah.
So it was developed, it was, like, conceived around the same time as 13, so I don't know why people are giving it the benefit of the doubt after how shitty everything related to 13 has been.
Certainly not giving it benefit of the
So,
doubt. I'm curious what the sales look like in Japan compared to America. So I wonder who their target audience really is with it, you
That's
know what
fair.
I mean?
But when you think about Final Fantasy prior to 13 dropping, they were at the top of the world. Like everybody knew what Final Fantasy was.
Yeah. And
And
everybody
at
was
this
excited
point,
to play them, and now I don't even touch. I don't even know what's out, what's going on, or anything. Like
There's an HD remake of a PSP game going around that people seem to be enjoying, but like I could not possibly care less. Type 0 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, if it's not Tactics, then I don't give a shit.
Yeah. And even Tactics A2 was like that was the DS sequel to Advance 2.
Yeah.
Or Advanced. That had like some interesting ideas, but there were fundamental problems with that game that made me not like it that much. So Square's kind of a mess. It's just depressing because when I was growing up, all the games I played were from those like big Japanese companies.
And now
Sounds
none of them
weird
are.
to say, but you know that's
Well,
where I
no,
grew
but
up.
I mean, they made the vast majority of the really solid games, and you know, lately I think they've been really kind of hesitant to adapting to change, you know, and now they're kind of paying for it.
I guess so. But then you've got companies like From Software that just keep making games I like to play. I've got no problem saying I'm a big fan of their games. They haven't pissed me off yet, so it's all I can ask from a game company.
Yeah, I mean,
What games
sometimes
I want to play.
you're gonna be disappointed, and whatever's gonna happen, but you know.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Kojima news. More odd news about Japanese game companies. Nintendo is apparently going mobile. Have you heard anything about this?
Nothing past the title.
Okay. I don't know a ton myself, but from what I've heard, it's like they're not going to be porting NES games to the App Store or anything like that.
Which is what anybody would want. So, like,
I mean, I don't think I'd want that. It would probably control like shit.
yeah, but I mean, anybody who's gonna, I don't know.
It seems they're pairing up with a big Japanese mobile developer to make sort of, well, mobile focused games, which I'm all for. Like, I don't like mobile games, but if you're going to put games out on a phone, you might as well make games that are suited to a phone.
Yeah, I don't like mobile games. I don't know what it is. I just can't get into them.
Yeah. I mean,
I play them for like 30 seconds and I'm like, well, this is dumb. And then I'm delete it because I just don't care anymore. But
yeah.
I know lots of people, like millions of people, like love them and put lots of time and money into them. I'm just not one of them.
I feel like the market is mutually exclusive to our market.
Yeah.
For quote unquote real video games.
Yeah.
Not to sound too elitist, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like what? The biggest mobile game is some Bejeweled knockoff that you have to like pay to keep playing.
Yeah.
And other just tower defense shit. So I don't know. So, you know, people, they're all ready to be doomsayers about, oh, Nintendo's finally going mobile. I think it's, from what I've heard, just to keep the fucking shareholders off their ass. Because, you know, businessmen.
Yeah, well,
Mobile's big. Go on mobile.
Yeah. Nintendo has been doing kind of mediocre, too, since the Wii. I know their quarterlies haven't been super awesome, so...
Yeah.
Even with the 3DS, like, in the Wii U, like... So, I mean, I think if they can really take a big chunk of that mobile market, which is honestly, like, there is such a, like, demand for, like, quality controlled mobile games that, like, it's just waiting for, like, Nintendo to come in and, you know, take that over.
Especially in Japan. Like, if you think mobile's big over here, mobile's been the scene in Japan for at least a decade, I feel.
Yeah. I think Nintendo's stepping in to kind of, like, there's just a big vacuum there of, like, just shovelware and trash and, you know...
Just leaving money on the table.
Yeah. But I think that is going to, well, hopefully, my hope is that it, you know, buoys them to where they can keep putting out, you know, really quality titles on the 3DS or the Wii U or whatever, so...
Which is almost a really good segue in that my next piece of news coincides with going mobile in that they've announced they're working on the next piece of hardware, the NX. Have you heard of that?
I just thought it exists, you know. I mean, it's not really a shocking revelation. I mean, everybody's working on their next gen, and considering that Nintendo's been early on them in the past 2 generations, it's not surprising that they would be early on the announcement ahead of, you know, Microsoft or Sony or whatever.
Makes sense. And if they can get this out early enough, they're in a really good position, considering how weak the Xbox One and PS4 are compared to PCs.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo, I don't know what they're going to do, obviously, but I mean, based on, you know, their previous hardware releases, it's always, you know, they go for the cheaper option for the, you know, underpowered and just focus on the gameplay, which is great, you know, I like that, but
at a certain point, you gotta start trying for beef again. Like, if you think about it, it's only the last 2 games that have focused on gimmick over power.
Yeah.
Like, the GameCube was supposed to be on par with the PS2 and the Xbox. And the PS2 was the weakest machine of that generation.
Yep.
But that was the one everybody had, which means it set the standard for everybody else.
Yep.
So, I feel like they were burned on the GameCube, and they just didn't care to...
I loved the GameCube personally. That was one of my favorite consoles, was the GameCube, honestly. I loved it so much.
What did you play on it?
Oh, man. Well, there was the releases, like the initial ones. Like I liked Luigi's Mansion. Super Mario Sunshine was good. And then like I really liked their like more mature offerings, like Eternal Darkness, Resident
Oh,
Evil
right.
4. Like my God, those were just stellar, and you couldn't get anything like those games on any of the other platforms.
Until RE4 made it to the PS2 like years after the
And
fact.
nobody gave a shit at that point.
Well, I did because I hadn't played it
Oh,
yet.
okay. Well,
But
I
now
didn't give a shit at that point.
I have a GameCube copy of it now.
Yeah. So much better, man. That GameCube controller, God, I love that GameCube controller.
I don't care for the controller.
God, it was so comfortable. I loved it.
I don't have little hands though.
Oh, I kind of do.
You want to talk about a comfortable controller? Like, as much as I hate the original Xbox, I loved the Duke.
I like the 360. I think the 360 controller is maybe my favorite controller outside of the D-pad that I've ever had. It's great for 3D platformers and action adventure games and FPS games. Like it's the perfect controller for those.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, at this point, I'm so much more used to using just PlayStation controller that they're kind of interchangeable for me. The PS3 controller and the 360. Like, it's not really more comfortable to use one over the other. So it's nice to see Nintendo's branching out, I guess, and also that they're not married to the Wii U because it hasn't been doing too well. I'd like it if it was doing better because I've been enjoying a lot of the games they've been putting out.
I
But
think
at a certain
Nintendo
point,
needs.
you gotta cut the rope.
Yeah, well, they need to stop kind of trying for this kind of like unique console experience, because not like it's really difficult to um like develop for that,
Yeah.
consistently develop for something like that because I mean no matter like how great that that controller is, there's only so much you can do with it.
Yeah, like most games use it as an extra menu or a map or some shit.
And it's like, whoa,
Or just
that's
another display.
mind blowing. Okay, cool.
And
And
here's the problem with the Wii U. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
The problem with the Wii U controller specifically is that you have to be able to go kind of portable with it, which means you always have to have the display on the screen, which means you can't use the controller screen for interesting things like it was probably designed to do.
Yeah, well, and
So all it is most of the time is just a fucking really bad resolution display of the game
yeah,
on your gamepad.
exactly.
So that was ill-conceived.
I don't think that I think they made certain assumptions about how people kind of interact with their games and their environment, like how people have a living room or a bedroom set up or whatever. So, yeah, I don't think it turned out well for them.
Yeah.
I really hope they just go for straight, like, focused, horsepower basically, and just say, okay, we're gonna make games for this, and we're
It'd be
gonna
a nice change of pace.
focus on the games, not the fucking gimmick. Like I've had enough of that, Nintendo. Like,
Yeah.
games
Like nobody
now.
gives a fuck about motion controls or
Yeah, or touch or
games.
whatever. Like it doesn't work that great, and PC gaming is just blowing up right now. Like, I think it's been, what did Gabe Newell say? It's been increasing by 50% every year for the last, like, 3 or 4 years.
That's crazy.
Like, but, I mean, that's because it's about the games and the horsepower, which is what people want.
I mean, most people. I'm actually pretty indifferent, which maybe sounds like a lie, but like I don't actually care that much. Like until a couple weeks ago, I had a 720p TV, so I'd never even seen a game in 1080p before. Like that's how little I care. I don't know. Like I think it's because I go back and forth between old games and new games all the time. I just don't actually care about graphical power that much. I do hate when frame rate goes to shit. So I always feel like you should sacrifice textures for frame rate or something like that.
But I mean, like, on the PC, it's totally, like, optional. I mean, I don't know. Like, if I can have it, I want to have it.
Yeah.
Like...
I understand why some people care about it.
playing
don't.
60 frames a second on a 4K monitor, like full-blown HD textures on a game, is a completely different experience than playing on like the PS4, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a frame of reference because even if my computer could run games as well as that, I've got this like 19-inch monitor and I've only got the one monitor.
Yeah. I mean,
So
hmm.
it works well for the indie games I play on the PC.
Oh yeah, it totally does that well.
I'm okay with consoles. I guess I'm just the definition of a console peasant, quote unquote.
I mean, not to
I
sound,
just like to play games.
I mean, I love them too, but like, it's just, I don't know. I do dig the really pretty, like, powerful games too, with the gameplay there.
Yeah. Like, I'll admit, I look at stuff like The Witcher 3, and I kind of wish that I cared enough about my PC to put the effort in and the money in
Yeah.
to get something running for that, but I'll admit, I use the consoles. Wow, that sounded all Quebecois for some reason. I use the consoles to, for convenience.
Yeah.
I just update shit and pop the disc in and...
Yeah, I mean, granted, it's easier, and I think that's what Valve is going for with their Steam machines, and I'm not really sold on those as an idea yet, because it seems like why would people want this over, like, a console, because, frankly, most people don't know enough about any of that to make an informed decision, but...
Yeah, the people who are in a position to want to buy the Steam box don't know enough about specs to make a good decision on that.
Yeah.
I have to wonder who that's for.
I don't know.
I just repeated everything you said, didn't I?
Well, no, but it's just, like you said, I don't know who's going to buy that, because, they're going to go with Microsoft or a Sony or a Nintendo over this new box, that's a computer, but not, and it runs its own OS, and people aren't really sure what that means, and what does that have to do with, But, like, people like me who are well-versed in all that, it is kind of tempting to buy one, but I like having the control over my own machine.
And it's cheaper, too, to just buy your own shit and put it together.
And it's really not that hard. So, I don't know. But we'll see how all that pans out. I don't have a, horse in that race, so I can just sit back and kind of watch it happen.
Yeah. So I haven't actually come up with a discussion of the week. Do you have any ideas? I can pull from the backlist.
Let's go for that backlist. Let's start in on that now.
Alright. I had a bunch of shit written down about Amiibo bullshit back before I had my Mega Man Amiibo. I probably won't be super passionate about it anymore because I have the only Amiibo I gave a shit about.
Okay.
But I feel like there's enough to talk about there that's worth addressing. So, first of all, the very obvious problem has been availability. And again, I haven't heard much about that recently, but maybe that's just because I'm not paying attention anymore because I already got my shit. But I don't think it's improved much. Last time I checked, there's like half the figures you can't even get.
I think the whole thing is just really dumb. I mean,
In what sense?
I don't know. I don't really see the point in the Amiibos, honestly.
The product themselves?
Yeah, I mean, like, who gives a shit, really?
Well, as someone who collects a bunch of high quality figures for video game stuff, it's kind of nice to have an option for some of these characters that don't have a lot of merchandise. Like, when have you ever seen a Kirby figure, like, anywhere? Or Pit or Donkey Kong? Outside of really crappy, like, kids' toys and Toys R Us.
Not very many, no.
So, in a lot of cases, it's a really cheap collectible for franchises that don't get a lot of collectibles necessary. Or collectibles?
Collectibles.
Collectibles. So I sort of understand it from that position. I know a lot of the people who buy the Amiibos don't even open them. They just want to collect something.
But they're just creating the demand for it. I mean, Nintendo did the same thing with the Wii.
Yeah, they're notorious for this bullshit.
And I just, like, do you hate money?
Yeah, that's the only way I can look at it, because people talk about like, oh, they're creating demand. It's like, okay, but yeah, like the scalpers
Sure.
make the money on that
Yeah, I was
demand.
gonna say Nintendo doesn't see most of that money.
Like, here's the thing: for Nintendo to do what they're doing successfully, they'd have to create that demand, then flood the market, and before people figured shit out, like they'd sell more than they should. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's how they would successfully do this. But this has been like months now. You can't get these figures.
And what's what? I don't understand what Nintendo thinks they're getting out of this.
Well, in their end, they're diversifying in some ways. Like they're selling a physical product. The margins got to be pretty good on that. Like you're selling just a little plastic figure for $15. They seem to be selling really, really well. Like almost as well as Skylanders, I'm sure, which I think are still pretty popular with the kids.
Yeah, I think Target still has its own like. I mean, the Target's here anyway in the video game section. Like Skylanders has its own like half an aisle of just pure Skylander shit.
That's crazy.
I
Because
still
I've heard
don't
those games aren't even
really.
that good.
I was gonna say I still don't even really know what it is, which I guess means I'm getting old. But
Well, from what I remember, like I saw a video of the first Skylanders, and it just looked like a really crappy action game where you just put the figure on and you unlock the character basically. So,
well, they know what kids love, and kids love
oh
that
yeah,
shit.
like it's genius. If I was a kid, and they had shit like this, I would have had all the Skylanders. That pushes all the buttons you want at once. Like you get a physical toy to play with. Mind you, it's a statue, so you can't like do stuff with it. But
You can
and
collect it and
like you
have it
play it
sitting
on your
there,
video game.
and you can show it off, and yeah, it's basically everything kids love. And apparently adults too, going by the amiibos. So,
Adults will buy just about fucking anything.
uh,
And I mean, like I've got, I feel like 7 amiibos. I don't know because all my amiibos are up in a box because I don't have a shelf to put them on right now. Turns out. But I liked, I liked having the good AIs to fight against in Smash Brothers. I'm not particularly good, but if you could only get 2 or 3 people together to play the game, you can just throw a leveled up amiibo on there, and that's as good as a person usually, especially the kind of people
now,
I play with.
do you think that they kind of created that demand to kind of push demand for like the Wii U and stuff too?
It's hard to say because you think if
Considering,
it's easy to get the toys, then someone who buys a bunch of collectibles would be like, well, why the fuck don't I just buy a Wii U and play the games?
yeah,
Like, I don't know why they put amiibo support on the new 3DS, because I'm just waiting for the day when I see some real spurgy looking dude on the bus with a bunch of amiibos and he's just like clacking them on his 3DS on the city bus. You know what I mean? Like, it's not good for portability.
no, it's really not.
fucking weird.
I mean, that's the only reason, like business-wise, that I could think that they would go this route with the amiibos is to kind of create like it's not even like direct demand for the Wii U. It's kind of like adjacent, like people with
Just making it look really popular.
I guess so, because amiibos are popular. Therefore, you would think, oh, the Wii U is really popular too, since so many people are freaking out about these little statue toys. Looking from the outside, and they think, oh well, maybe this Wii U thing is part of that, and I don't know. Seems
Part
like
of the problem,
and it seems like a really odd way to go about it, though.
and part of the problem too, like I'm not gonna pretend Nintendo hasn't fucked the pooch on this, but retailers, people are taking retailers' words on things that they shouldn't believe retailers about. Now, what I mean by this is, early on, it was the retailers saying that Nintendo was discontinuing certain figures, which is what caused this frenzy of pre-orders and just people waiting outside the stores on shipping days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, of course the shop's going to tell you something's fucking rare, because then they're going to sell a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So I feel the problem's being made worse than it would have been. Like, it would have been a big enough problem, because they don't ship enough amiibos. But now that people think, oh, these are so rare, like, you're getting to the point where the most recent wave I heard, the entire wave is sold out pre-orders wise. You can't buy any of these figures anywhere. They're not out until like May, I don't think.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gotten just bonkers. Like the last wave that came out, I feel like 1 or 2 of the 6 or 7 were reasonable to find. Not even a guarantee. Like you look at most stores, you just see a bunch of like Mario and Pikachu and shit like that. So I think like the zeitgeist is part of the problem, but they're not sending enough figures out either. Other problems I've got listed here is there's this one guy, I've got him listed as the Rosalina guy.
Oh,
Have you heard about this guy?
yeah. He
Like
hates her and just
stockpiling.
buys all. I don't understand that kind of insanity. Like that's just.
I understand it. I don't like. I understand what he thinks he's doing. He's like, well, I don't like this character, so I'm gonna buy all the Rosalinas so nobody can enjoy it, so Nintendo stops putting her in things.
But you've bought them, therefore
so,
accomplishing
like,
what
they're
Nintendo
selling really well.
wanted. Like I.
Yeah. Like you think
Not-
Nintendo pays attention to who buys it? Just
no,
they're
just the
selling
fact
out
that
really
they
well.
bought. Yeah.
So apparently he's spent, I want to say, it was an obscene amount of money either way, like $20,000 or some shit like that. And it was said that he has another 60,000 reserved for Zero Suit Samus and the 2 Fire Emblem girls. So sounds like he's got a problem with some of the more recent female characters. Not to get all feministy or anything, but I just call it like I see it. He's got some problems with those characters.
I think he just has some problems. Period.
I think what it might be is he's maybe got a problem with waifu people. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but that's not
You're
how
like,
you.
Oh, my waifu. No, it's not a healthy way to deal with
I
the problem.
was gonna like everybody's who. If you're a well-adjusted human being, you should have a problem with those people. But that's not really the best way to go about addressing that issue that you have with them. So
Well, the problem here too is the guy seems to be nuts, but he also seems to be loaded enough to the point where he can just blow thousands of dollars on these fucking
yeah,
toys.
but if his mom or dad's got like a buttload of money and he's kind of spurgy to begin with, then their money is his money, so it's not really an issue.
That's the only way I see that working.
Yeah, same.
So just for recent icing on the cake of the whole Amiibo problem, have you heard that there were some Mario Party specific Amiibos?
Yeah.
Well, have you heard that there are scale issues?
Yeah, they're bigger than all the other ones.
They're bigger than the Smash Brothers ones, which means they look fucking horrible on each other, or on a shelf next to each other.
I just.
So it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot already. There's only 2 sets of these things, and you've already fucked it up. Do you know anything about collectibles? They gotta look nice together.
Apparently they don't.
So I feel like this is just Amiibos are gonna be that one fad where it's like, for a couple months there, though they were crazy.
Yeah.
But then you like pull them out of a box in 20 years and like, holy shit, you remember this? It's like the Virtual Boy.
Here, let me just put these Amiibos next to my Beanie Babies. Like.
I still have a Beanie Baby.
I think everybody still has at least one Beanie Baby somewhere.
Got it in a box next to my teddy bear.
Yeah, that really cute one that somehow you were attached to. You're just like, oh, I'll keep that one.
Yeah. Well, that's the first one I got when I was like 5 years old or whenever they came out.
But yeah,
It was
like,
this little
unfortunately, like I wasn't kid at the time, but I knew adults who were like dead set that these things were going to be worth money one day.
I think they're worthless now, aren't they?
Oh, they're totally worthless.
That's great. I love when that happens.
Like, if people have no reason to collect them, down the road.
Yeah.
Like,
They're just stuffed animals.
yeah, that's it. And they're not rare because there was tons of them. There's too many. There was just, too many of them. Too many types. Just too many. And,
It's like with any collectible. You gotta, when you see someone talking about like, oh, I'm going to use Magic cards as an example. I'm investing in Magic cards. It's like, motherfucker, if you were investing, you would invest in something that's got returns. All you're doing is trying to justify spending way too much money on a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, like I buy Magic cards too, but don't pretend you're making an investment.
Yeah, an investment stuff. It's a stupid idea with that. And buying and flipping on that's a different thing.
And I mean, even Magic cards, there's actual value there on some of the cards. But it's like when people get all speculative, it's like, oh, I bet this card's gonna be like $5, so they'll buy like 100 of them, and then 2 weeks later, it's worth like 50 cents. It's just like, well, like, dude, if you want to gamble with stocks or something, go do that. But it's not investing.
No.
I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, maybe it's a fun hobby, I don't know. So, I guess that's my advice. If you want to invest, just invest in shit. Don't buy stuff. Unless it's gold. Or, like, baseball cards. So, that's all I had for the Amiibo bullshit. I'm gonna take that off the list here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking because I've been talking pretty solidly for a while. So let's move straight on to upcoming games and stuff we're looking forward to. Anything off the top of your head?
No. Sadly.
It doesn't look like there's a lot coming out between here and mid-April.
there's Witcher 3, but, we already talked about that, so...
Is that coming out soon?
That's
or
May.
just
May.
Yes. What I mean by this is like within the next 2 weeks before our next episode.
That's
Sweet
what's
fuck
coming
all
out.
for you then, huh?
Yeah, I think for the year, honestly, there's not much coming out that I'm really that interested in.
Fair enough. I check new games every couple weeks just to see what's going on. And that's actually how I found the first game on my list here, Axiom Verge. It's, from the looks of it, it's 2D side-scroller Metroidvania type game.
Even heard of this?
Haven't heard of it?
Mm-mm. I'm gonna Google this right now.
Google it real quick while I masturbate about it. Right? It looks really cool. I think it's PS4
first picture, and I'm like, wow, I'm having Metroid feelings.
Yeah. So I think that's coming out middle of this week here, next couple days. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I probably won't buy it right away, just because, I've got a shitload of games right now, but that's definitely something I'm going to keep my eye on.
Cool.
Xenoblade.
A PC, Microsoft Windows, thank God.
Is it coming out on PC?
Yeah, I can play it.
I thought it was going to be PS4, because that's the only...
Oh, it says PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and Microsoft Windows, so it's going to be PC.
Oh, well, that's good. You're lucky there.
Yeah, I will definitely be picking this up. What looks like a $15 game?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Cool, I'll pick that up, immediately.
Alright, you should let me know what you think next time, if you get around to playing it. I've also got here the Xenoblade Chronicles. It's a remake of the Wii game that GameStop famously gouged the shit out of, because it's exclusive to them. So, I might not necessarily buy it right away, again, but I'll take a look at it. It seems to be a pretty popular series, so there's probably something to it. Plus, I need a reason to justify my new 3DS. What better way than to buy the only announced exclusive for the 3DS? That maybe sounds like not a good reason. Like just doubling down on idiocy. But
a little bit of salt there, I don't know.
I have to hope there's more things that are going to take advantage of the upgrades, but you don't want to split your user base, I guess. There's probably not going to be many games unless they absolutely need to do it.
Yeah.
Which it seems like Xenoblade does, because that seemed like a pretty big game even when I saw it on the Wii. I'm like, wow, that's on the Wii? Because the Wii, most games looked like shit.
Yep. They sure did.
Yeah. So, I think it's April 11th. Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin is coming out.
You're looking forward to that?
The quote-unquote HD remake. There's some controversy around that. Understandable. Especially if you bought the game on the PC. Because all you're paying for is the lighting they promised you the first time.
Well, considering I didn't pick it up, I might just get that one for the lighting that I didn't.
For you, that's why I have it dog-eared. I have this dog-eared for you. I'm like, Dark Souls 2.
Well, mainly it was because of the issues with how the PC port turned out. And
is that really why? I thought you just didn't have time.
Initially it was time, but then because I had that time to sit and watch other people, I was like, wow. It's frustrating when they kind of just shit on the PC port for no apparent reason.
I understand.
It was developed on a computer, guys. Why can't you do this?
So hopefully, if that all runs properly, that'll be what you always wanted Dark Souls 2 to be, and then we'll have lots to talk about. Because, a lot of people didn't like Dark Souls 2. I understand where they're coming from. There are some pretty significant flaws in the game, but I still really enjoyed most of my time with that game. There's a couple of spots that come to mind I don't want to spoil. I guess I would just say get proficient with some sort of ranged weapon.
Yeah, that has always seemed to be kind of the go-to strategy for a lot of those like difficult RPG style games is like, I hope you're ranged because melee sucks dick.
Well, I was fine in Demon Souls though. Like I never had to range a goddamn thing in Demon Souls. I don't think. Maybe I did, and I'm
trying to remember. It's been a long time since I played it though. I picked that up.
Remember those gargoyles fucking my shit up. That's about it. So, that's coming out early April on the 11th. So maybe you'll finally have a chance to play the game. Although, you might just want to wait for a sale at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll probably just wait for a sale.
I don't think it's going to sell too well because I think a lot of people are really fucking angry.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
It seems kind of like gouging, honestly. Like, hey. Like, honestly, that should be a fix that they release for free.
Yeah, at least on the PC.
Yeah, like, hey, we fucked up, we know. Sorry, here you go. Or at least, like, $5, something like that, reasonable, but...
And people could argue, like, they're also rebalancing shit, but again, that's just fixing the game. And I don't think they're adequately fixing the problems. Like, do you know about the concept of soul level?
Yeah.
In Dark Souls 2?
Yeah.
So they're not... I don't think they're properly fixing that. And that properly fixing it would just be to remove it. But, I don't know. I don't feel a need to buy it because, like any of these other HD, it's all in HD, motherfucker. Like all these remakes these last couple of years, I don't want to support bad habits.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I haven't bought GTA 5 yet for my PS4. Because I want to play that game. Like, I never played it on the PS3. So I was waiting for, like, a next-gen version. But I'll want to buy it used because I don't want to reinforce this bad habit.
Yeah.
Further to our discussion last week.
Don't blame me there. I really don't.
So, a couple things to look forward to. More than you thought on the outset.
What about Neverwinter? I mean, granted, I won't be
MMO?
playing it. Yeah, I don't have an Xbox One, but...
I mean, I can't give a fuck about any MMO that isn't WoW, and WoW's not even what it used to be for me, so... I think I'm kind of over MMOs. If I was to play one, I'd probably pick up...
I think most people are really over that. It's just the time that they require.
Yeah, I don't have the time for that shit anymore.
Most people are adults who are going to be playing them, and they don't have the time for that.
Like, most of my friends are playing Final Fantasy 15. That's a $15 subscription fee. It looks fun enough, but, you play games with friends, any game is fun.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, like, I don't care. I don't like playing multiplayer that much, even cooperative, because then I'm on other people's clock. I can't just dick around and do whatever I want. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm not big on multiplayer, so, obviously MMOs aren't for me. Even in WoW, I wanted to solo instances instead of run with people, so I'd just wait until I was over-leveled and then run all the ones I couldn't run before. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because I just like to see the dungeons. I don't actually give a fuck about the fights. They're not that interesting. At least they weren't in WoW, in my opinion. Especially early level.
Yeah, well, I mean, the older ones were pretty simplistic. I think they've, at least recently, and like the current raid tiers, they've gotten pretty fucking fancy with their shit there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. There's a lot going on, and I think there's a lot of personal responsibility in the raid tiers currently.
Which brings me to my other problem with multiplayer games, having to rely on people not to be stupid assholes.
Yeah, that's always the complaint, and that's always the issue. In the 10 years of me playing WoW, that has always been the constant problem is, why is everybody playing like shit?
Like, you gotta wonder, like, is this the only game they play? Like, why are you just standing in fire?
Yeah, why?
How is that not
Why?
just
Why?
obvious?
How are you this bad? Like, it's not.
To be fair, a lot of them are just like, oh, I gotta go run away and like put my kids to bed. It's like, you're just a mom. It makes me wonder, like, why the fuck you playing WoW? I guess it was just that wide-reaching for a while.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people stick with it, and it's something that they can just do or whatever.
I think a lot of it's the social aspect too.
Yeah.
They get in guilds and stuff.
Yeah, because you can kind of do both on a pretty relaxed time frame. But yeah, and there's fucking God of War 3 remastered. Ew, why?
Yeah, I think they announced both the Arkham games are getting HD remastered as well.
They're
Like
not
they're
even that old.
They're just announcing fucking both of them. It's like, yeah, just both of them. Fuck you. It's like, really, asshole? That's just, you're so blunt about it, about how you don't give a fuck. It's just like, whatever, people will buy it or they won't. And like I heard someone say a couple days ago, it's like, at this point, it's making the new consoles look bad. Because you look at the shelf and like half is, hey, that's fucking old games I already played. Why would I buy a new system?
I don't give a shit about any of them. I've played them.
It's gross. I don't dig this.
I don't understand. Trying to cash in. I mean, I would understand if they were redoing old games, like, oh, we're gonna pull up stuff from 20, 25 years ago, and we're gonna like remake these and
remake as opposed to up-res is the big thing.
Fucking, I just played the Arkham games. Like, that isn't my recent memory.
Yeah.
Playing them when they were new, like, I don't, why are we doing this?
Like, here's the thing, I think a couple people were like, okay, we're on the cusp of the new systems, like The Last of Us and Tomb Raider and
yeah,
what have you. And
ones that were released,
because they did that with the 360 and shit.
Yeah, I mean, games that were released super late into the previous, console life, like, that's fine, I understand that,
It's more defensible, because at least it's, like, making a change.
Yeah.
Sort of. But now you're just like, fuck it, just up-res any of this old shit. And the icing on the cake is some of them don't even run that well.
A lot of them
they can't get like 60 frames per second on old fucking games.
It's disgusting.
Like, what are you doing?
It's disgusting.
So, I don't know. Hopefully that's a trend that just stops pretty quick here and people just start putting out games again. I can't imagine these things are selling that well. Like, who the fuck's buying? Like, if you care enough about games that you've adopted these consoles this early, you probably played all these fucking games already.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the average age of, like, the gamers now, like, they've played all these, Like, there's not a single re-release game that I haven't already played.
Yeah.
Why would I pay for it again? For it to look marginally prettier, and then a lot of times not even
That's
then.
assuming they didn't cock it up.
Yeah.
Like, that Master Chief collection for the Xbox One?
Oh god, that's still a fucking mess.
That whole thing up.
It's still a mess, and it's
like,
super...
how do you even fuck up?
It's so depressing too,
like
because like I really, really, I loved the Halo franchise. From 1 through 3, like I was a big part of like me being a teenager was the Halo franchise, and now it's like, oh god, it's just this horrific fucking mess, and it's nothing like it used to be, and it's just really sad to see that happen.
So yeah, that's depressing. So, but try Scholar of the First Sin. At the same time, I'm endorsing it.
Ish.
Just
I'll see.
You haven't played it, but if you're gonna buy a version, I guess like buy that one.
I guess, yeah. I mean, we'll see if it's even worth it, because I might just buy the original one if it's not even going to be worth it.
There's a good chance they've even cocked it up.
Yeah, I'll hold off and see.
So, that'll bring us to our conclusions/comments. Not a lot of biters this week on the questions. I do have a couple. Let me just open our official Twitter account at Starport Resort. Just thought I'd plug that since I put the time in to make an email address and all that. Captain Ersatz asks, how do you type with Roxing gloves on? I'm assuming that's addressed to me.
Going to some stuff. Yeah.
It's not easy, and I'd thank you not to bring it up again. That's very triggering topic for me, and don't be ableist. Lady X Venganza, my friend Stacy, she asks, actually she wanted me to talk about Mario Party 10 if I'd picked it up. Thing is, I didn't pick it up for a couple reasons here. One being, I don't have a lot of people to play the game with. I found out you have to use Wii remotes, so I don't have the remote batteries for that, because why would I just keep all those batteries around? And it wasn't getting super good reviews, which makes me think it might go down in price at some point and or be easy to pick up used. So I'll pick it up eventually, but I've still got Smash Brothers and Mario Kart with new DLC coming too. The Mario Kart DLC is actually really amazing, Mel. Have you seen any of that stuff?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so get this. There's like a Zelda track where instead of coins, you're picking up like rupees. And it makes the rupee sound.
They really know how to get people, don't they?
Oh yeah, they do. And there's an F-Zero track where you've got like the boosts all over the place, so it kind of feels sort of like F-Zero. And you know the recharge pads, right?
Yep.
Well, you don't have shields, but like you drive over them, you still get the same animation and the sounds. It doesn't do anything, but it's just, that's fan service right there. That is the definition of fan service. And that's just the first batch of the DLC. I bought both of them way back, so I'm really hoping the next maps are super cool. We got to play that game when and if you buy a Wii U, because that's a good game, Mario Kart 8.
Damn, that makes me kind of want to play that.
So I guess to answer Stacy's comment, next time you come hang out, we'll play Mario Kart instead of Mario Party, because that's better. Fuck Mario Party. Alright, and that's all I've got for questions and comments this week. Where else? Oh, you can find me, Moy, at the Mad Moy on Twitter. And Mel?
I am at some math dork.
Yeah. We both lurk Twitter pretty often. I'm a lot more vocal than Mel is. She seems to just kind of watch Twitter, whereas I'm kind of a shit disturber, it turns out.
I try not to disturb too much shit.
I
get the urge a lot, and I think, well, is today the day where I just say fuck it and do it? And then I decide not to, and then...
Well, the problem is, and this is going to sound super unprofessional, but when I got a slow day at work and I'm just like running really... I'm not going to get too specific for privacy reasons, but my jobs are pretty uneventful and slow. I will just start shit on Twitter just so I have something to do. Just so I have people to spar with, because it's, I don't know, it's amusing to me. I'd also mentioned we have a Twitter account at Starport Resort. I obviously don't check that one as much, but that's a good place to reply or, to send messages to if you've got questions for the podcast you want to have answered. That way I don't have to actively, desperately fish for questions all day before I record the podcast. Probably looks kind of pathetic.
Ah, well.
I've also, by default, I've got an email address for the podcast now, starportresort@gmail.com. Needed that to make the Twitter account. So I guess you could email us too, but I check that even less often than the Twitter account. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're obviously on our dedicated YouTube channel, which just started. So from now on, the episodes will be posted here. So I guess you could subscribe to that if you really like the podcast, which may be narcissistic, but I feel you should really like this podcast.
Yeah, damn it.
It's pretty good shit. Other than that, you got any new things in your life? Outside of video games?
Just
chilling out.
Yeah, it's spring break. I'm not really doing much. Just playing games. I kind of had that about 3 days where it was like I just went from having lots and lots of like homework and studying to like having nothing. And it was a struggle to kind of deal with that
to just chill out, like
yeah,
make yourself chill out.
I had this nagging like, oh my god, like I should be doing something, but I don't have anything to do. What do I do with myself?
I know that feeling all too well.
Kind of wander
around. It took
around.
months to wear off after I finished school. Like I'd wake up thinking I had an exam to go do, and it's like, no, dumbass, you got your degree, it's on your wall. Just stop. So that's good. Like I said, we've been renovating the basement over here quite a bit. I've got carpet today finally, so that's nice.
Yeah, you don't
Carpet is good.
accidentally, like, shuffle your feet and get splinters.
Yeah, that was actually really starting to piss me off, so good timing on the carpet, even if it's expensive.
It's worth it.
Alright, so I don't want to meander too far. That should do it for episode, I think this was 2 of Starport Resort. I'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Bye.